is narrated to us by Hurayra. This is the final hadith within the significance of Masajid. I'm going to quickly, inshallah, narrate it for you and give the basic idea. Then I have a few comments to make, inshallah, afterwards. This is what Abu Hurayra says. قال مر عمر بحسان وهو ينشد الشعر في المسجد فلحظ إليه. That Umar ibn Khattab, during his khilafah, he walked through the Masjid of the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام, and Hassan ibn Thabit was sitting and he was reciting poetry out loud in the Masjid of the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام. So Umar looked at him for a second. لحظ إليه. اللحظ, now if you go to for example, the book of Fiqh al-Lugha al-Imam al-Tha'alibi, he'll point out to you that there are at least 15 different ways to look at somebody, and each one has a word. Each way of looking has a word, and I'm not going to go through them. But when you look at someone with love, is different than when you look at someone with fear. Different than if you look at someone with hope or need. Different if you look with you're in content. So Umar, he لحظ إليه. لحظ, when you look at someone, you're not happy. It seems like Umar al-Khattab was not happy with whatever Hassan was doing. Now he could have been, he may not have been. There may be some other reason for it. I don't know. He never said anything. Said Umar al-Khattab, he kept on walking, like he didn't say anything. But Hassan said something, and I think the hadith becomes important from what happened. So Hassan, when he saw Sayyidina Umar al-Khattab look at him that way, he said something. قال قد كنت أنشد وفيه من هو خير منك. I used to do this. I used to sit in the masjid and read my poetry out loud, and in the masjid was someone better than you. Obviously, he's referring to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. قال ثم التفت إلي. Abu Hurayra saying, then he turned to me. فقال أنشدك بالله. I ask you by Allah. أسمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم يقول أجب عني اللهم أيده بروح القدس. I said, I ask you by Allah, did you hear the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام once say, respond on my behalf when he was reciting his poetry? Oh Allah, strengthen him with the Ruh al-Qudus, with the strength of Jibreel عليه السلام, with the power of the Holy Spirit. فقلت اللهم نعم. I said, by Allah, yes, I did. And of course, Umar Sayyidina al-Khattab didn't say anything. He kept on walking. Apparently, he probably was bothered by something else, maybe not that specifically. But I like the hadith because the hadith is used in the Sahihain and others to point out that Inshad al-Sha'r fil Masjid is acceptable. And Sha'r at that time was the only form of art and media that existed. Like really, the only form of art that existed back then was poetry. And it happened in the Masjid of the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام. And my point of narrating this hadith, and all the ones that I narrated over the last maybe 2 or 3 weeks, is to point out to you how the masjid was seen and revered by the Prophet ﷺ, by the Muslims. It was the center of their community. It's where they went every time they came back from if they were traveling, they came back there first. That's where the khutbahs happened. That's where they got to know one another. That's where the nikah ceremonies occurred. That's where shi'r was recited. That's where people who were sick were taken care of. That's where people who had nowhere to live lived. Everything that needed to happen in the community happened in the masjid, because the masjid was a center of society for them. It was a center of society. And we have to make Masajid the center of our societies again. We decentralized these places. We decentralized them. We made them peripheral. We put them on the side. They're there for specific purposes. You drop your kid off for a Quran program, you pick them up again, or you come for Jummah. It's not the center of your social life. It's the center of your spiritual life. It's the center of your social life. And in some ways, it should be the center of your financial one too. And until we bring the masjid back into that realm, and we start seeing it that way and treating it that way and building it up that way for ourselves, we're going to continue to suffer as a community. Like the Muslims will continue to fail until they bring the masjid back to what it was designed to be initially or to begin with. And that was the point of these ahadith, and this is the last one. يروي الشيخان في متفق عليه من حديث أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال مر عمر بحسان وهو ينشد الشعر في المسجد فلحظ إليه فقال حسان قد كنت أنشد وفيه من هو خير منك ثم التفت إلي وقال أنشدك بالله أما سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول أجب عني اللهم أيده بروح القدس قلت اللهم نعم صدق رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Now, you can turn it off if you don't mind. Turn it off.